Pokémon, one of the biggest franchises in the world. I mean, who doesn't love the beautiful screeches of a Pikachu? I mean, just listen. Or how about the majestic howls of a Satitan? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Welcome to Terraria, a beautiful sandbox game that most people call a 2D Minecraft, and that's the simplest way to put it. Today, I'm bringing you here with me because I downloaded a mod that will allow me to catch and use Pokemon to beat the game. Welcome to Terraria mod. Pokeraria? Oh, I know. Pokemon. What do you guys think? You like the name? You see, I took the idea of the word mod, and, well, you know, of course. This mod brings 44 unique Pokemon into the world of Terraria, with fully integrated mechanics, including leveling up and evolving. And, well, much more, obviously. In reality, there are more Pokemon in the game, but the mod isn't quite finished yet, so I'm just going to show off what is currently in the game without cheats. And maybe after, I'll show you guys everything after I beat the game, of course. But before we get on to the video, I ask that if at any point you find that you enjoy this content, you like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Now, back to the video. Anyway, intro over. Our journey starts off slow. I mean, really slow. Like, it took me half an hour to catch my first Pokemon. But once again, I am getting ahead of myself. Before I can even get Pokemon, I have to actually play the game. So I spent the first few minutes playing the game, building a home for our villagers. Now, at first I wanted to make a regular box village, but as I was building the first home, an idea really struck my head. What if I made the homes look like Pokemon? Anyway, here's Dugtrio Town. While I was building the town, the game couldn't refuse to tease me with some Pokemon though. I mean, look at them. Anyway, with the homes built and the bushes growing apricorn, by the way, that's how you build the Pokeballs, you know, you gotta plant this little apricorn bush, and it just kinda, like, makes apricorns, you know? I crafted my first few Pokeballs and went out to catch my first Pokemon. Honestly, I didn't think too much on who I wanted to catch, I just left home and caught the first Pokemon I saw. In this case, it was a male Nidoran, and not too long after, I stabbed a Weedle to weaken him, and catch him. Immediately after that, I saw Bulbasaur, but I died, which means no Bulbasaur for now. After respawning, I saw a Caterpie though, and I caught him too. I then went down to the mines and gathered resources to progress through the game. While down here, I did find a Diglett. Look at the little guy. I tried to catch him, but I wasn't able to, so because he ran away. Damn. I continued exploring through the cave with this neat little minecart. I was able to get pretty far. Then I made my way back toward the area where I found the first Diglett, and I managed to find 2 life crystals on the way. Nice. That'll increase my health, by the way. That's how, you know, you upgrade yourself in the game. And another Diglett spawned in, and I was able to catch that one. Back up at the surface, I decided it was time to level up my Pokemon. You see, up until now, I have deliberately chosen not to show off my Pokemon's combat abilities, because they're weak AF, you know? But in this game, when you have enough gravestones in an area, you're able to make a mini biome called the graveyard, you know? Where enemies constantly spawn, and normally in Terraria, it's useless because really there's no need for, like, killing enemies other than making a couple of coins of money, you know. But it's not useless because with the Pokemon, it creates an infinite source of experience. You know, every time the Pokemon kill an enemy, they gain just a bit of XP, allowing me to sit there while my Pokemon level up. Except it's not entirely efficient because my Pokemon can still get hurt. Which brings me to the next part of this journey, acquiring the Poke Healer. This thing will allow me to be my own personal Nurse Joy, because without it, my Pokemon run the risk of fainting, which means I'm not able to use them. without using a revive of course, which in this mod is pretty damn expensive, requiring a life crystal, and those aren't easy to find. I already used the 2 that I had to increase my health, so I'm gonna have to look for the 10 life crystals required to craft a healer sometime later. For now, I can heal my Pokemon with orange berries, which fall from trees, but if they faint, I have no way of bringing them back. I took some time to improve the XP farm by adding a platform for my Pokemon to attack away from the enemies, and not long after, a special guy came into my world. It's Professor Oak! I had no idea he was in the game, so I wanted to see what he offered. Which wasn't much, but it was still cool to see him in the game. I bought a Great Ball and an Ultra Ball from him and returned to the farm. While I'm here, allow me to introduce the rest of the game. Caterpie uses his silk-making abilities to wrap the enemies in a web, slowing them down and damaging them at the same time. Diglett uses stars to attack, launching them at multiple targets or focusing all the stars on a single enemy. And last but not least, Weedle, which kinda just spits at the enemies. Yeah, I don't really know what he does. With my Pokemon a little bit stronger, it was time for me to look for the life crystals. I made my way down to the previously seen mine rails, and this time I went to the left. I know, crazy, right? Also, while I was down here, Caterpie evolved into Metapod, which is pretty cool. But at the end of the rail, I found myself in an underground desert, which, might I mention, has the craziest music. I mean, just listen. Anyway, I found the life crystal here. Nice. And after searching for a bit, I gave up and headed to the surface, where I explored for a bit to the left side of my world, where apparently all the demon eyes are, because I mean, look at this. Anyway, I died shortly after, but when I died, I did see a little Pokeball on the ground, and I was a little curious to see what it was. After that, I caught a Charmander. And then I made my way to the Pokeball on the ground. It was just a little citrine ball and some money, which was underwhelming. I thought it would have some like items like in the game, maybe a potion or a revive, but no. I then caught a Cyndaquil and, oops, sorry, long clip. I caught a Cyndaquil. And then this happened. Did you see it? I stumbled across a buried pyramid. I swear I never get any on a normal playthrough of this game. Anyway, I made my way down into the pyramid, and inside the chest were your standard items and a flying carpet. And at the bottom of the pyramid was a glowing mushroom biome, which was pretty neat but nothing too important. Charmander uses a fireball attack and deals damage to enemies, while Cyndaquil uses smoke attack, as long as he doesn't miss. Soon after that, I headed back down into the mines where I locked in and found 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 life crystals. It was surprisingly easier than I thought. Normally these crystals are scattered way further than each other in this whole world, and I was able to find them all near this area. Now I could finally craft a Poké Healer, and with it, I could properly level up my Pokemon. The first ones I wanted to level up were Metapod and Weedle, since I figured they would... The first ones I wanted to level up were Metapod and Weedle, since I figured they would probably be the quickest to evolve. And I was right. But that doesn't mean it was easy. If any of you have ever played Pokemon games, you'll know that Metapod has one move, Harden, which doesn't do any damage, and you have to rely on your Pokemon to level it up. In Terraria, it does a little damage, but is extremely inefficient at taking zombies down. He backs away, giving his tiny window of attack a low chance of actually attacking. But flying enemies beware, he chases them down relentlessly. Weedle was weak, but quickly evolved into Kakuna. Now Kakuna was much better at attacking compared to Metapod because he crawls towards the enemies instead of away from them. Anyway, all this to say, I built a weird hole in the ground to help them level up. You see, I designed the hole to trap the zombies. That way I could just drop the Pokemon in, let them attack, and then I could swoop in and kill the zombies, allowing the Pokemon to gain the spoils of our victory. It didn't take long for Metapod to evolve into Butterfree. And I mean, just look at that. It seems to use the Confuse ability, or one of the variants of that move, because it does damage and confuses a target enemy. Up next was Kakuna's turn to evolve. It was a little easier, since when he used Harden, he crawled towards the enemies and not away from them. While leveling up Kakuna, the world's first Blood Moon occurred, increasing the spawn rate of enemies and introducing 2 event-specific enemies. Meet the Blood Zombie and the Tripler. Anyway, the increased number of enemies meant Kakuna very quickly evolved into Beedrill. Beedrill seems to use a homing stinger attack that launches 3 or 4 stingers that target the nearest enemy. With all these enemies and morning still being a ways away, I took the opportunity to level up Charmander, which then quickly evolved into Charmeleon. And I gotta say, he's definitely stronger now. I can't wait to get Charizard because he's mowing down enemies at his current rate, so I can't even imagine Charizard. Finally, the Blood Moon finished, so I went down to the mines to continue searching for life crystals and nearly died from a dead man's chest. Whew. Wow, I mean, if you've ever played this game, you'll know that what just happened is extremely lucky. I mean, I just missed the bomb. And even if I did survive the bomb, there were still boulders and a poison trap dart waiting for me. Yeah, it's that deadly. So I just sat there in astonishment because this never happens to me. After getting a bunch of life crystals, I went back to the surface to kind of wrap up the video. I thought it would be good to catch a couple of Pokemon, so I'll just read them off here. I caught Chikorita, Bulbasaur, Ghastly, I encountered a Squirtle, but I ran out of Pokeballs, so I had to pass on the opportunity. I went to the other side of the world and caught a Totodile. Not long after, the Eye of Cthulhu spawned in to try to ruin my day. Luckily, I had Charmeleon. His flamethrower move made quick work of the Eye. After defeating the Eye, I felt confident in fighting our next boss, the Brain of Cthulhu. So I went to the Crimson Biome to spawn him in, and built a quick little battle arena, and fought him. Immediately, my Charmander wiped out most of his health, but I wanted to level up my Bulbasaur. Sadly, he wasn't very good at fighting, so I switched back to Charmeleon and beat the Brain. After that, I made my way back to the ocean, and on my way there, I caught a Rattata, a Pidgey, and finally a Squirtle, completing the 3 starter Pokemon, and bringing this video to a satisfying conclusion. Also, I just want to point out that Squirtle floats on water, which is the cutest thing ever. I mean, just look at him. Anyway, that brings me to the end of the video. If you made it to the end, please be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps me out. Plus, it's free, and you can always change your mind later. But that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys whenever I upload next. Goodbye.